All right, welcome back. Now we're going to do an example. And so we're going to use, this is an example of using elementary row operations on a given matrix. Okay, so I'm going to explain the notation too. So this is very important notation, and this is something you're going to want to practice writing, get familiar with, and understand. So here's the given matrix. And we want to perform each of these operations on the matrix. So the first one, A, says row 1, and then we have this double arrow with row 2. This is a swap or an exchange, right? So this is telling us we're going to take row 1 and row 2 and we're going to exchange them or swap them, okay? So that means that the resulting for A, the result of swapping row 1 and row 2 are going to be as follows, okay? So it's going to be 1, 4, negative 1, oops, that's fine. 1, 4, negative 1, 9, and then 4, 3, 0, 5. So all we did was take row 1 and row 2 and switch them, swap them. Okay, whatever term you want to use. And then of course row 3 is left alone. And so this would be the result of that transformation or that elementary row operation. Now, what about B? B says, what does B say? B is telling us we want to take 1/4 of row 1. So we're going to multiply row 1 by 1/4, and then this arrow means we're going to replace row 1 with this. So we're going to take this and replace row 1. So in other words, we're just taking 1/4 of row 1, and so the result would be, okay, we're going to take 1/4 of row 1, so the resulting matrix would be, again, we're going back to the original matrix, we're going to say, okay, that would mean that if we're going to take 1/4 of row 1, that means row 1 is going to change, the rest are, the other two rows are going to stay the same. So this is going to be 1, 3/4, 0, 5/4. And then of course the rest is the same. And we're done. That would be the resulting matrix for part B. Now part C is now telling us what? So this is telling us we want to take -2 times row 2 and then add it to row 3, and then replace row 3 with that result. So we're going to do this and then replace row 3 with it. So that means all the other rows are going to stay the same. Row 3 is going to change. So, okay, so 4 is going to stay the same. Then it's going to be 4, 3, 0, 5, 1, 4, negative 1, 9. Okay, so nothing's happening to those two rows. But what we're going to do is we want to take -2 times row 2 and then add it to row 3. So we're going to take the second row, we're going to multiply it by -2 and then add it to this row. So if I take -2 times 1, that's -2. And then add it to 2, that gives me 0. So this is going to be 0. And then if I take -2 times 4, that's going to give me -8, plus 0 is going to give me -8. And then if I take -2 times -1, that gives me a +2. And then if I add it to 3, that gives me 5. So this becomes a 5. And then if I take -2 times 9, that gives me -18. And then add it to -8, that gives me a -26. And then I'm done. And that's how you not only perform the 3 elementary row operations, but this is how you would write those 3 in using symbols, right? And so again, as we're getting more, as we are using matrices now, we want to be able to concisely write out what we want to do in each transformation of the matrix.